Video is I can solve equations with rational numbers, and we are continuing to have variables on both sides, and we're still trying to solve for the variable, but now we have the very scary fractions and decimals that we have to work with. And there is a nice little trick to kind of simplify this so that we're not working with the decimals or the fractions. So I'm just going to run through these examples. Because there's not a lot else to do as far as solving these goes. So what I'm going to do is I want to get rid of all of my fractions here. And the fastest, easiest way to get rid of all of my fractions is to multiply everything by a common number. And the common number needs to be able to cancel out my 5s and my 2s. And so the easiest way to find a common number that will cancel out both is to multiply them together. It's kind of like finding a common denominator, except we're not really, and we are using the denominators, but we're not multiplying it, but we're not giving everything a denominator. So 5 and 2, if I multiply those together, I get 10. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply all of this by 10. And 10 times 7 is 70. 70 divided by 2 is 35, so I have 35n there. 10 times 3 is 30. 30 divided by 2 is 15, so 15. And I don't have to multiply first. I could divide first. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6, so 6n. And 10 times 2 is 20. So this is my new equation. That's a 0. And then I'm just going to follow the same steps that I've been practicing, as I'm sure all of you have been practicing. Minus my 6n from both sides. That gives me a diagonal line. 35 minus 6 gives me 29, 29n plus 15 equals my 6n and my negative 6n cancel out, so I have a 20 minus 15 from both sides, and I have 29n equals 20 minus 15 is 5. Divide both sides by 29, and my answer is n equals 5 over 29. And that's fine. We can just leave it like that. That can't simplify that anyway. Okay, so the takeaway from this is we want to find a number, and we don't have to multiply the denominators together. If sometimes there will be a lower number that will work. So if this had been a 4, then 2 also goes into 4, so we could multiply everything by 4. But if you're not comfortable doing that, if you're in doubt, you can always just multiply all of your denominators together and you'll get a number that will work. Okay, for this one, for decimals, you might be comfortable working with decimals, and that's fine. But if you would rather work with whole numbers, again, we're going to use this trick of multiplying everything. And the way to do that is we need to find what our highest or farthest decimal is, I guess. So if we look at this decimal right here, this is in the 10th place. This is in the 100th place. So in order to make this a whole number, we would have to multiply this by 100. And we can do that. We just need to multiply everything by 100. So 100 times 0.2 gives me 20r. 100 times 0.75 gives me 75. And 100 times 0.5r gives me 50r. Okay, now I can subtract my 20r from both sides. And that's going to cancel. Then I have 75 equals 50 minus 20 is 30r. Divide both sides by 30. And I get r equals 75 over 30. That is 2.5. You can use a calculator for that. I just know that 30 goes into 60 twice, and that would leave me with 15, and 15 is half of 30. So 2 and 15 over 30, which is 2.5. So r is 2.5. Okay, and I will try and put up one more video, one more example of this as well.